last time you saw a Peugeot 5008 it won't have looked like this. The French manufacturer's former 7-seat MPV is now an SUV. Only the name, and a 95 kilograms weight loss, carries over from the old car. Why the change? Well, for a start Peugeot is keen to tap into a popular market. 26 million SUVs were sold worldwide in 2016, the year before this 5008's launch. While larger 7-seat off-roaders are plentiful, Peugeot says cars of the 5008 size and price are few and far between. Only the Nissan Strail, Skoda Kodiaq and Land Rover Discovery Sport can really claim to compete. If you want space for 7 and adventurous off-road styling without the associated exterior size, step this way. On-road off-roader despite the shift in attitude and boosted ride height the 5008 remains a car that will mostly live its life on-road. There are no 4- or all-wheel drive options. Peugeot says this would have eaten into the space needed for seats 6 and 7. It's ostensibly a 7-seat version of the 3008, a car that we like very much, thanks in no small part to its strong collection of engines, Bluetooth 4-cylinder diesel motors, plus 1.6-liter and PureTech 3-cylinder petrols. All offer promisingly low fuel consumption to help keep bills down, as detailed in the green credentials and running costs sections of this review. More space inside the 5008 retains the 3008's roof height but is actually 19 centimeters longer, with 16.5 centimeters of that inside the wheelbase for a roomier passenger compartment. As such there's more elbow room up front, knee room in the second row and headroom in third row than the old car, plus a cavernous 1.060-liter boot. Best of all, the rear seats can be removed if not needed and easily stored in a garage, weighing only 11 kilograms each. They free up an additional 40 liters of boot space each. Interior TechFest. This isn't the first car to feature Peugeot's iCockpit design, but it is certainly one of the most exciting. Not only do you get the small steering wheel and high-level dials, there is also a wealth of technology on display. For a start there's a 12.3-inch screen where the speedo would usually be and another 8.0-inch screen in the center console. Pleasingly there is also a bank of physical switches underneath the screen for high-use things like the aircon or sat-nav, unlike previous Peugeots which hid that functionality away in the touchscreen's menus. There's a big nod to safety too, with standard-fit autonomous emergency braking, traffic sign recognition and driver attention warning system. Read on for the full Peugeot 5008 review. 2 petrols and 4 diesels. Top engines are automatic only. Smallest petrol is surprisingly charismatic. Peugeot draws from its stable of PureTech 3-cylinder petrol and Bluetooth 4-cylinder diesel engines for the 5008, plus a 1.6-liter higher performance turbo petrol motor. Diesel engines. Kicking things off is a 1.6-liter diesel engine available with either 100 horsepower or 120 horsepower, the former exclusively with a 5-speed manual gearbox and the latter giving you the option of 6-speed manual or automatic transmissions. We drove the more powerful 2.0-liter diesel, which comes with 150 horsepower and 6-speed manual form or 180 horsepower in the automatic in the 5008 GT, which also has 6 gears. The 150 horsepower version provides a pleasing swell of torque from low revs and there's a light and positive feel to the gearshift. Interestingly, the 180 horsepower version is predicted to be the bigger seller, but we found the lower-powered engine an easy-going unit with a smooth power delivery and admirable refinement and less revved hard, at which point it gets a bit noisy. Petrol engines. Not that long ago the idea of a 1.2-liter, 3-cylinder petrol-powered SUV people carrier would have been dreary proposition, but the nature of modern turbocharging means it is not only an acceptable power plant in the Peugeot 5008, but a characterful and desirable one too. You can have this 130 horsepower unit with a manual or automatic gearbox, both 6-speed, and we were able to drive the latter on the 5008's hilly, Lisbon-based launch. Left to its own devices, the Autobox delivers smooth and timely shifts, but responded more promptly to manual inputs from the column-mounted shift paddles when the roads became more challenging. There's plenty of low-speed punch from the small petrol engine, but in truth it needs a bit more work than the easier olive with diesel, mainly due to its reliance on revs. Let the engine speed drop too low and you'll find yourself in a bit of a power black hole. Still, if you enjoy the process of extracting the best performance from an engine, this 1.2-liter unit is a rewarding choice. A faster 1.6-liter, 165 horsepower petrol engine is available, which we were unable to sample, but in truth its skewed balance of power against economy doesn't paint it in a favorable light compared with the diesel lineup. Sport Mode button on the central console marked Sport sharpens up the throttle response, power delivery, and the automatic gearbox's shifts. Left in normal mode, the Auto 5008 is reasonably responsive but tends to shift up early to prioritize economy. To avoid awkward multiple downshifts on a more spirited drive, the Sport setting holds onto the car's lower gears to ensure decent engine response and a smoother drive. The downside of this, of course, is poorer fuel economy and more noise. Safe and secure rather than engaging good body control and all-round grip levels. No 4x4 models but advanced grip control offered. The Peugeot 5008 is a bit of a mixed bag in the handling stakes depending on which engine you choose. The 1.2-liter petrol unit is significantly lighter than the 2.0-liter diesel, and this translates to a greater sense of agility when you first turn the steering wheel. In reality, though, this is not a car you're going to be setting blistering lap times in. It's a practical family car for 7, and on the basis the way it handles is satisfactory. There's plenty of grip and body roll is on the whole well controlled, resulting in a rewarding drive and reduced levels of nausea for those in the back. As with most modern cars, there isn't a huge amount of feedback through the tiny steering wheel. But it is linear and predictable in its nature with plenty of confidence-inspiring weight. Unlike the lighter, vaguer power steering system seen in older SUVs. Advanced grip control. While there are no 4WD-equipped models, Peugeot does offer its clever traction control system that optimizes the car's various electronic aids to ensure you can drive safely on snow, mud or sand. In addition, you get hill descent control to help negotiate steep slopes at a computer-controlled 2 miles per hour. And 18-inch wheels with mud and snow tires to help adhesion levels while off-road. Very attractive and solid cabin. More switches than other Peugeot's digital dashboard has several FACE options. This is perhaps the area where the Peugeot 5008 has shown its greatest improvement. The cabin is now a fantastically futuristic and sharply styled place to be. Some harder plastics remain, notably around the hard-wearing areas like the central tunnel, but on the whole the material quality is very good. It's also more ergonomic thanks to a bank of 7 satin chrome switches for the radio, air conditioning, sat-nav, settings, telephone, apps, and hazard warning lights. These look fantastic and respond to the touch with a pleasing click. Other Peugeot cars like the 308 migrated many of these functions to the touchscreen, helping to declutter the cabin but also adding unnecessary steps to the process of turning up the ambient temperature, for example. With its additional physical controls, the 5008 is a much better balance of design and functionality. Is Peugeot's iCockpit for you? Peugeot calls its cabin design iCockpit, an elevated set of dials and small steering wheel, and it works well for some drivers and not so well for others. It's worth getting a long test drive in a 5008 to see which side of the fence you sit. Presenting vital information in the 5008 are 2 screens, a large, 12.3-inch high-resolution display taking the place of the traditional analog dials, and an 8.0-inch touchscreen in the center for things like the sat-nav and media information. The former offers a number of different looks, from minimal just to digital speedo, to traditional-looking dials, plus a more stylized version with turn-by-turn navigation instructions too. Finally, there's a special amplify function available to GT line and GT cars, which tailors the cabin ambience in a number of different areas, such as screen color and interior lighting brightness, stereo equalizer settings, seat massage mode and fragrance diffuser. There's a choice of the more exciting boost mode or mellower relax. Rides well on smooth or rough roads. Engine noise mostly isolated from cabin wind and tire roar is admirably hushed given the Peugeot 5008's primary function as a family vehicle. Its suspension errs on the side of comfortable rather than sporty. That said, while it irons out lumpy roads well, there is a harder edge when traversing potholes and other cracked surfaces. The 1.2-liter petrol engine and 2.0-liter diesel we tested were never intrusive in terms of cabin noise, with a cheerful 3-cylinder note in the case of the former. While we didn't drive the 1.6-liter petrol in the 5008, in the 3008 we found it to be quite vocal. What impressed most was the lack of wind and tire noise on the move, which points towards the 5008 being a talented long-distance cruiser. The front seats are large and cosseting while the 3 individual chairs in the second row, although smaller, are surprisingly sculpted and supportive. UK specification yet to be decided. Plenty of luxury tech on offer. Options assembled into packs. There are 2 mainstream trims for the Peugeot 5008 called Active and Allure. There's a base spec called Access in Europe but not here, plus 2 sporty grades known as GT Line and GT. Standard Peugeot 5008 equipment. Peugeot hasn't finalized its UK specifications, so it's hard to say with any certainty what we'll get over here. We do know that premium tech including full LED headlamps will be offered, as well as multi-point massaging front seats and a focal hi-fi system. There's also a large opening glass roof and a wireless smartphone charging plate. In terms of infotainment, expect mirror screen smartphone integration and 3D connected sat-nav displayed on the 8.0 and 12.3-inch screens. There's also the advanced grip control package which we spelled out in the handling section. Optional Peugeot 5008 accessories. When it comes to options, you'll be able to choose between the Connect Pack Peugeot Connect SOS and Assistance and Maintenance Peugeot Connect Pack Remote Services. The iCockpit Amplify option described in behind the wheel means you can select either boost or relaxed driving modes. Finally, the Driver Sport Pack adds tauter steering, more responsive accelerator and gearbox setting, plus amplified engine sound. No Euro NCAP rating yet. 3008 scored 5 stars. Lots of standard and optional safety kit. We haven't had sight of the Peugeot 5008's Euro NCAP rating yet, but considering it is based on the 3008, which gained 5 stars last year, the early signs are good. As standard you get quite a lot of safety kit, including autonomous emergency braking, traffic sign recognition and driver attention warning system. Additional equipment includes adaptive cruise control and active lane keeping assistant for semi-autonomous driving, active headlights, blind spot monitor and park assist. The 5008's ace card over the 3008 massive 952-liter boot. Plenty of passenger space all round. Considering the Peugeot 5008's relatively compact footprint, it boasts an extremely strong interior space offering. The French manufacturer reckons its space efficiency is class-leading, which is to say no other 7-seat SUV offers a better ratio of external size and interior roominess. For a start, there is an extra 16.5 centimeters between the wheels when compared with the 3008, translating into decent legroom in the second row. You'll want to make the most of this extra room when transporting adults in the third row. There's more room back here than you'd expect, but taller passengers will need those in the middle seats to slide their chairs forward. The back row offers enough room for teenagers, and there is a 12-volt socket and drink slot as a concession to long-distance comfort. Luckily, the second row is made up of individual seats that can be moved fore and aft as well as reclined. They're also treated to a pair of aeroplane-style picnic tables, although unlike the VW Touran, these don't have a 45-degree setting for a tablet or integrated fold-out cup holders. Pick the panoramic roof, and the headroom in the first and second row takes a bit of a hit. You can get the driver and front passenger seat quite low though, so taller occupants will want to claim one of those. Fold all the seats flat and you'll unlock 2,042 liters of space. Remove seats 6 and 7 and this is increased to 2,150 liters. With 5 seats up you still get a respectable 952 liters, or 166 liters with all 7. Elsewhere there is a total of 40 liters of storage around the cabin, including big door bins and a central cubby with split folding lid and removable tray.